Do you guys remember the level of adrenaline-fueled anticipation that you would have as a kid going into a store like Toys R Us or Walmart, knowing that while you were there, you were going to be able to explore the video game aisle and you were going to be able to check out all of the different systems from all of the different manufacturers, all of the available accessories, and most importantly, from quite literally floor to ceiling, as many games as you could possibly imagine. And what did these stores also have at the time? Kiosks, where you could actually play the games. A little TV, the console in like this plastic bubble, and two controllers ready for you to jump on and try out the system, usually for the very first time, to actually get your hands on the games. And does what you get to play there in Toys R Us, does it line up with what you've been reading about in all of the gaming magazines? In 2002, this happened to me. I was as hyped as you could possibly be for the launch of the Nintendo GameCube back in the United Kingdom. May the 3rd, 2002. I was the Nintendo 64 kid. I was absolutely ready for the GameCube, everything that I had read about it. And when I say everything that I had read about the GameCube, I had probably read every available gaming magazine about the Nintendo GameCube before the launch and after the launch as well, nonetheless. So when I walked into this Toys R Us with my parents, and we found a GameCube kiosk set up in the store, and this must have been a couple of months before the launch, my brain essentially exploded with hype, with excitement, and I actually got to get hands-on with Rogue Squadron 2. Star Wars Rogue Squadron 2, and this was the game that had so much hype surrounding it when it comes to the GameCube launch. All of the advanced graphical capabilities, the frame rate, all of the lasers, the explosions, the gameplay itself, and I finally got hands-on with it in that Toys R Us. And that experience sealed the deal in my brain. That was really it. I got to go into that Toys R Us, I got to experience the system, and I knew for sure from that point forward, for that entire generation, literally, I was only going to be playing on the Nintendo GameCube. So much so, in fact, that I am probably one of the few millennials that can really claim to be a massive gamer. I never owned a PS2 growing up. And you can really tie it back to this experience, my level of hype, and then the confirmation that I was hyped for the right reasons going into this Toys R Us and trying out this GameCube. Can kids do that today? Can kids do that today for the PlayStation? In some stores, yes. For the Nintendo Switch 2? Yes. In fact, that was how I tried the Nintendo Switch 2 for the first time a couple of weeks ago now, in a Walmart. They've got Switch 2 kiosks all over the country now in Walmarts. Can you do that for the Xbox? Can you try out Xbox games, Xbox controllers, Xbox systems? Can you even find them in stores anymore? Increasingly, the answer to both of those questions is, of course, no. There is no hype, no excitement around the Xbox brand anymore, around Xbox games anymore. This has been the complete collapse of a brand for reasons that, again, I've discussed in prior videos. Go and check them out if you want. But when you go into your Walmart today and you go into the video game section, you're probably going to see something like I'm going to show you in these photos in this video. I'm Shooter. Be sure to subscribe if you're new to my channel here. Brand new gaming content creator, because that's exactly what we need in 2025. More gaming content creators, of course. Subscribe if you're new. I'm trying to bring a real passion back to the gaming content creation space, which I think has been sorely lacking on a lot of channels for a while now. So hopefully we can generate a little bit of buzz here. We've got over 100 subscribers in just over a week. Let's see if we can get to 1,000 before the year's out. I think that's a reasonable challenge. Let's try and get there. Now, let's get into these photos of the really sad state of the Xbox section in Walmart, which is no longer even an aisle. The Xbox section is not even getting an entire aisle in a Walmart anymore. This is what it is now getting. Yes, this is what it looks like in the Xbox section of my local Walmarts. A handful of consoles, a handful of games, one pathetic little cabinet, and a whole bunch of empty shelves. And what games do we even have in there? Madden, FIFA, college football, Borderlands, and Battlefield. That is it. That is Walmart, the corporate giant that is Walmart, telling you that they have no more faith in this system. That this thing is not selling. Nobody wants it. There is no hype for it whatsoever. So this is all the space we are going to give it. But to be entirely fair and entirely transparent, let's back up and let's look at this other wide shot that I took here, where you can see the console cabinet on the far left. That's what we were just zoomed in on. So these aisles consist of 1, 2, 3, 4 cabinets. What is in these other 4? Some backbones, some headsets, a bunch of controllers, a steering wheel, some more headsets and some more controllers, a couple hard drives, a couple of the expansion memory cards. That's it. I mean, we've had the meme that Xbox releases more controllers than games. Yeah, turns out that may have actually been right, considering the state of that aisle. What level of excitement are you going to walk away from if that's what you encounter in a store? Imagine if you're thinking, you know what, I keep hearing about Battlefield at the moment. I hear about this GTA 6 is finally coming out eventually, hopefully. I want to jump into gaming. Do I want to get an Xbox or do I want to get a PlayStation? And you go down the Xbox aisle and that's what you see. And then you just take a short little walk around the end. And what do you find? The PlayStation aisle, which is filled with 1, 2, 3 full cabinets loaded with consoles, a few accessories, but most importantly, games. And at the very end, beyond that, you can see there an entire section of PlayStation merchandise. T-shirts, clocks, socks, models, other things to get you hyped about the PlayStation brand, things to bring you into the PlayStation circle. I mean, it just doesn't compare. Not only has Xbox lost the console war, they have essentially been beaten into the dust when it comes to gaming retail. There is nothing left. And if you flip around on the PlayStation aisle, there is actually even more, which we can see here. A few more consoles, the headsets, the controllers, the wheels, the backbone style things, the Walmart's own brand headsets. And what does the Nintendo Switch section look like, you might ask? Well, I didn't even bother taking pictures of that because you guys already know. It's stocked to the brim with consoles and games, as far as the eye can see, both sides of the aisle. And of course, they have the discount section for some of the Switch games as well, and some of the PlayStation games. In that particular Walmart, there were a few Xbox games too, but again, not as many as the others. So how did we get here? Well, of course, I've discussed this in my prior videos, so not to really rehash that too much, but a complete lack of exclusives worth playing, a complete mismanagement of the brand, and going all in on Game Pass, which has been a completely terrible idea in terms of consumer experience and the financial realities of the video game industry in 2025. So that's how we really got here, in my view. Leave me your comments below. What have you seen in your local stores? Have you seen anything similar? I'm sure you have. I've lived in the United States now for almost a decade. Lived back in the United Kingdom, of course, before that. And it didn't used to be this way. Not when I got here. You used to have the Xbox kiosks still. You used to have decent retail space still. People still used to be kind of hyped for Xbox when I first got here. But yes, slowly but surely, the end is nigh for the console, for the brand that many of us loved and cherished and were really along for the ride with for almost 2 decades. We made friends on Xbox Live and all the great times we had. But I'd say Xbox is still doing a few good things. This is probably one of them. Right here, these controllers, these clear controllers that they released last year, I think. This one was Ghost Cypher. Absolute amazing throwback really to the early 2000s, the late 90s, the transparent technology era. But Xbox, aside from a few things like that, has been really incapable of finding an identity for itself and reimagining its brand and keeping people on board. I mean, when you've lost someone like me and others like me who have been with you for almost 2 decades, what else is there to say other than complete mismanagement? Thank you guys for watching. Hit like on this, share it everywhere you can. I'll be back with more real soon.